right, so the first thing I'm going to show you is your rosters. All right, so you've got a bunch of students already preloaded. If you want to set them into classes, the first thing you should do is go to All Students and Manage Classes. Now, I've already set up all of mine, but you can simply add a class by clicking Add Class. I just named them by periods. Okay. So when you just go into assign your class, so for the student specifically, they're part of my 7th period, so I would just click 7th period, save. Okay. That way you can always search things by class periods later. That's probably the best thing. Also, something that I've done in the past is instead of just using those randomized passwords that they use or having students create one, I use the same password for every child. So all I do is go in here, change the password to something as basic as 1 and click save. This really cuts down on kids going, I forgot my password and things like that. Okay, so once you've got all that set up, you can also print usernames and password cards for them right here. You could just print out the list for a class or the entire thing here as well. Those are both good options. Just so you've got a list of all the students' passwords and things like that. And if you do need to add a student later, you just come down here and click Add Student. See if I find my mouse, there it is, Add Student. Okay. And just put in their information. So next thing, I'm going to show you how to find some different assignments. So there's a couple different ways of doing this. So I'm going to click on the Learning tab. Okay. I think one of the nice things here is if you'll look here, they go Florida Standards. And what they're going to do is I'm just going to pick a grade level. So I'm going to go 8th grade. And I've got math. You can also click language arts, and it's going to do this for both of them. And they're just going to give you a list of all of, like for this one, they're going to give you all the standards, and then they're just going to give you some topics that they have that align to that standard. Now, again, this isn't always perfect, so you do want to kind of look at the questions that you're giving. Okay. Now, here's another nice feature. I'm going to click on one real quick. So you used to have to work through it. You have Learn with an Example. That's there for the students as well. Sometimes the questions definitely get harder as they go along. So sometimes what I'm going to do is I just skip ahead to go, okay, what's the next level? I'll look at the question, go, is that a good question? Okay, this level's good. Okay, now I may get to a point that I go, oh, this is really higher than I want my students going. So for example, if this was a question that I was like, okay, this is as high as I want my students going, I would just have my students stop at a score of 75. Okay, so and just another basics for it, it's going to keep track of their questions answered. If they get it right, they go up. If they get one wrong, they actually go down. Now, they go up more than they would generally drop down, but the higher up they go, the more it penalizes them when they miss a question. So I always warn my students, when you get into the 90s, slow down, really take your time, because it will penalize you pretty heavily. And then each time that they get to a score, so you're going to get one ribbon right here. If you get to 70, you'll get a second ribbon when the student gets to 80. You'll get a third ribbon when it gets to 90. And then once they complete it, it'll be a little gold medal there. And each time that they complete it, you may have them complete an assignment more than one time, just for that additional practice. It'll give them a gold medal, the second gold medal, third, and so on. Okay, so that's one way of finding and looking at an assignment. Okay, so it's through here. You can also, now personally, I find things on these standards that are outside of the grade level. They only show you the ones that are on the grade level. So for instance, if I'm looking for a topic, you can just type in a keyword up here in the search bar. So if I'm just like, hey, I want to know what y'all have on slope, I'm going to type in slope, hit enter. Okay. And it's going to show me a bunch of different skills. Okay. So they may be from 8th grade, they may be from 7th grade, algebra, all kinds of different spots. So whatever topic you're looking for, it'll come from there. Okay. And here's another thing. I want to mention this. Okay, so a way that you can notify the student that this is something that you want them to work on, you can click this little star here, and that way whenever they see it, they know that that's something that you have assigned. But also, you just have these little call numbers and letters here. So you'll go, hey, this is a lot of times when I'm doing an assignment in class, I'll just say, hey, I want you to work on K9, and I'll say 7th grade. So all the student has to do is type in K9 and look for the first one that says 7th grade. So that's easier than searching it up a few different ways, for me anyways. So that's one way to find activities that they can work on. Actually, that's two ways. You also have what they call a skills plan here, which is kind of a cool feature. So this is very similar. You just pick your grade level. Okay, I'm gonna pick 4th this time. Math. Sorry to the ELA people. Just don't understand ELA. And what they're gonna do is they're gonna give you the standard, and they're gonna give you kind of their recommended progression, okay, for these activities. So they have just that natural, hey, this is the order we think this would go well in for each standard. So just something to look at, but honestly, I've never used it. Okay, what's the next thing that I need to cover? So searching, and obviously we also have you could come in here to a grade level, and I'm gonna here's a little something from the ELA people. So we just come in here. If I clicked ELA, and I'm gonna go 3rd grade, and we just see all the skills. So you got main idea, theme. If you scroll over it, it shows you a couple sample questions, but obviously you can click on it and scroll through and pick how you want it done. Again, you've got these call numbers and letters, B1. So if I wanted the students to go to this one, I'd go, hey, go to B1. So let's say I look at this one and I go, yeah, this is one I want. Okay. I'm guessing since I'm a math teacher, I don't have access to the ELA, so I couldn't click the little star button there, but you should have it if you're the ELA teacher. Let's see. All right, now for after you've assigned it, this is the stuff that I love here. Okay, this is my favorite button here, analytics. Analytics. All right, so the main one that I use, especially in the middle of class, and I've got this running all the time. I'll click on the live button down here, and this shows me a live classroom. Unfortunately, I cannot, can't show you the full features of this. Give you examples anyways. So you could pick your class. So you can have all students, or you can go, hey, in my first period class, I'm only looking at my first period students. That's who I've got right now. So what'll happen here is it's going to show you the amount of the students who are logged in. It'll show you if they're idle. It'll come up in gray, like if they haven't been working. But here's a really cool one. It will highlight their name kind of in pink if they are struggling. They notice they are missing questions. Okay. You can also, what it'll have is it's going to have their name, it's going to have their score, how many questions they have. If you click on their name, it's going to show you a full diagnostic of everything they've kind of been working on. I'll show you what that looks like here in a minute. But if you click on the questions, okay, where it says like, hey, I worked on 13, the kid has worked on 13 questions. If you click on those 13 questions where it says that, you can actually pull up every question that they look at. Okay, you can see what they've answered and different things like that right on the spot. So this is a really cool thing, especially with virtual. if a student misses a question and they need help, you can pull up that question very easily and look at it. Okay, and it shows you the current question they're on. So if for some reason you want to talk to them from across the room, you can guide them through the question they're looking at. They see it on their screen, you see it on yours. So to see those questions, you just click on underneath their name where it says, 13 questions or 25 questions, whichever one. Okay. Now you may also have kids working on different skills at different times, so you can sort the activities by clicking here and it'll group them by skill. So you may have kids working on different things. Also, if I just notice, hey, I've moved all my students to a new activity, and if I have that button pressed, I can see which kids haven't moved to the next skill, which ones aren't paying attention to what I told them to do. Okay, so that live button is my absolute favorite. Okay, so a couple other things that we want to look at for, here's another one. We're going to go over students, and we're going to click Student Quick View. I use this also during class. Okay, now you can use it for all kinds of times, but what I like to do is look at it and go, okay, what did they do today? Now I'm going to pick yesterday. Okay. All right, so my first period yesterday. Now I gave a few of them some optional, or I gave them a few assignments on here, just a couple practice ones. So what it shows is it's going to show your student name. It's going to show you the activity that they worked on. It's going to show you how many questions they answered, how long they spent on it, and the score that they received. Okay. So what this means actually here is this went from 100 down to 88. That actually means the student had already gotten to 100 before, so they had restarted and gotten to an 88. Okay. So, and if you click on these, it'll show you, if I click here, it's going to show me those questions. Okay. So, but this is a nice quick way of looking, hey, what did they do the day that I was asking them to work? So you can just scroll right through, again, and you can pick the time frame. So if I wanted to look at, and there's the whole class. So yesterday, my students in this one class answered over 1,200 questions. So that's a lot of practice. All right, and that was actually only from a very short activity. So you could pick your date range. That's real important. So you could pick custom if you want to look at what do they do for the last 2 days, different things like that. And again, you're selecting your class if you want to do that. Okay, another one here is you can go to student details. You can also usually get to student details by just clicking on their name pretty much anywhere. So for instance, I could look at this student. I'm just say all time. Let's see how the student is done. Okay. And it is going to show you. So it shows you the time they logged in. So on Friday, November 6th, the student was logged into the site for these 6 minutes here, logged in at 8:43, logged in at 8:46. It's going to show you active time practice. That's real important because students can be on there all day logged in, but they have no active practice. They can show you the questions they answered, how many questions they missed, and their score that they progressed to during that time. Okay, and you can see that for every single day. And then I'm going to show you, I think, just one other, and I'm done. So maybe you assign something to the entire class and say, hey, I need you to get this activity to this score. A good way of doing that is go to Scores, Score Chart. So I'm going to click on 8th grade. It's an assignment that I gave my students. It's my first period class, and at least I think that I don't use this one that often, honestly. Oh, that's not the one I wanted. I'm going to click on, let's see which one. Let's try, I'm struggling here, sorry. let's try score grid. Okay, that's what I wanted. All right, so again, I'm going to go to 8th grade. You can even limit this, so like a topic that I wanted, so I'm not seeing every single topic. Well, actually, let me show you every single topic first. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to scroll down, and what this is doing is showing, so I've had them working in a topic. Let's wait until I find some number. Like, so we've been working in functions, so we've got a lot of these topics done. So for instance here, Z1 was a topic that I had given them. So it's able to show me, yes, this kid has completed the assignment to the score. You know, you can set this up like a grade book. So here's the students' names, here's the activity that I assigned them, and you can just look at it and go, oh, did they do it? Okay. And giving them grades that way. Now you could narrow it by clicking additional options if you just didn't want to do it all that way, and just go, hey, I just wanted, you know, this is category Z. So instead of scrolling down and looking for it, I could just click on category Z. Okay. And you can click current score or current score mastery. You probably want to click on current score mastery if you assign the topic more than once. And again, there's a lot of things you can play with here. So I just click apply, so it takes me straight to it. And most of this stuff is printable, downloadable, all kinds of different things. But if you got any other questions, feel free to stop by my room or shoot me an email. I'll try and help you the best I can. I've used this program for years. I absolutely love it, and hope you guys enjoy it too.